The Kentucky Oaks winner, Acorn winner, two of the best 3-year-old fillies meeting again in one of the most prestigious summer races, the Grade 1 Coaching Club American Oaks. But here's the thing. This track is known as the Graveyard of Champions for a reason. There are a couple other fillies looking to make their headlines, steal the show. A sleeper, perhaps. How will you find your winner? Facts and figures are going to give you that winning edge. I give you the stats, you make the picks. I'm Maura from Trifecta and a little bit extra. And in today's episode of the Trifecta, I'm looking at the Grade 1 Coaching Club American Oaks, a race for 3-year-old fillies at Saratoga Saturday, July 25th, a mile and an eighth on the dirt, where that rematch may not be the only story of the day. Before we dive in, let me just remind you this. Horse betting is not legal everywhere, so if you're betting, make sure it's legal. And as always, these are just my opinions based on the information available. Horse racing is always unpredictable, so make sure you do your own handicapping and wager responsibly. Most analysts begin with, who's the best horse? But me, I like to ask, who's the best horse for this specific race? I start with the race architecture. Race architecture is all about the configuration of the track and the design of the race, because these two things can really impact a horse's ability to run well and finish strong. But if this is new to all of you and you want to learn more, there's a video right here you can watch. This specific race, Coaching Club American Oaks, a mile and an eighth on the dirt. Now, first, let's talk about where this race starts. Into a turn. Think about you're driving a car. You got to go 0 to 70 quick, and you're starting in a turn. And then there are 8 other cars to your inside. You have 2 challenges if you're a speed horse. Gain momentum, make a choice. Gun it, get over, use some gas, or go wide and lose ground. Speed horses and outside posts, they could be forced wide and be compromised. Therefore, those more on the inside, they may have an advantage. Now, in this race, we don't have a lot of speed horses. The number 3, Rascasse, and the number 7, Directive. And what that can mean is the race may favor the front runners, those on or near the lead, because they could get to the lead and can control the pace. Which leads me to the configuration of the track. Saratoga's dirt track is a mile and an eighth in circumference. Its stretch is 1,144 feet. For Saratoga, early speed tends to be important, and this race has typically rewarded horses on or near the lead early, like 1 to 1.5 lengths from the leader, if not the leader, at the early points of call. But where this horse is with only an 8 to go, that is key. The CCA Oaks has been run at Saratoga for the past 16 years, and in that history, the horse leading in the stretch at the 8th pole has won 11 times. Now, that's not 100%, but it is compelling. It means being the leader or in that striking distance in the stretch is really important. Want a few little bit extra angles you can use? Form is key. 87% of the past 31 winners either won or placed in their last prep. Now, the most prevalent key prep was the Mother Goose Stakes Grade 1 when it was run at Belmont in June. But the second key prep is the Grade 1 Acorn, and we have those 2 key contenders exiting from that race. Always a runner, and the winner counting stars. But just don't focus on class. There have been some winners who have prepped in allowance races, 5 in fact in the past 31 years, and a winner exiting the Monomoy Girls Stakes race. So while you may want to just focus on counting stars and always a runner, I'm going to take you through all the horses, highlighting a few that you just may have overlooked. Starting with our Grade 1 Acorn winner, Counting Stars. Winner right here at Saratoga going this distance. Now, I personally like horses who have proven themselves at this track because, man, it can be a tricky place. On that day, her rival, Always a Runner, the Kentucky Oaks winner, was the favorite. Counting Stars, she wasn't supposed to win, but she did. Counting Stars had a great start in post position too. She tracks on the rail 1 to 1.5 lengths behind the leader. And at one point, she was running side by side with Always a Runner. When Always a Runner was poised to strike, Counting Stars, she made her move. She angles to the outside. She's got to go 4 wide. And entering the stretch, she was really close to the leader. She took over in the stretch, a key angle. But not only did she finish ahead of Always a Runner by 3 3/4 lengths and earn that 95 Beyer speed figure, she improved from her Kentucky Oaks performance, where her speed was only a 90. Her rival regressed. In fact, that 95 Beyer speed figure is top at this distance. But what happened in that Kentucky Oaks? Well, just like in the Acorn, she was over on the rail and she got bottled up. She wanted to make a move, but man, she had to wait to get out and find her run. She finished third. Looking at her resume, she is class. Of her 9 starts, 4 were graded stakes races where she earned 2 of her wins. But as impressive as the Acorn was, go back and look at the grade 2 fantasy at Oaklawn going a mile and a 16th. She won by 5.5 lengths. Class, form, a win here at this distance, that right run and style, and top speed. Oh, and did I forget to mention? She gets Irad Ortiz Jr. as her jockey, who not only is a leading jockey right here at Saratoga, but was also her jockey in the Acorn. Mark Cassie, her trainer, said recently this horse has amazed him, and she's starting to act like a serious racehorse. For me, she is a top contender, but I'm going to say this, Irad, please make sure she doesn't get boxed in at the rail. Find that hole. $1 million purchase, a first-time starter on the dirt. Introducing Dandona. In 5 lifetime starts, 4 have been on the turf and 1 on the synthetic. Now, she has an impressive graded stakes win, but is she ready for this classy company on the dirt? Dandona won the grade 3 Florida Oaks on a good surface, going a mile and a 16th. Now, she started in the back of the field, very patient. Coming out of that final turn, she makes a huge move with a wide, big effort and storms home, taking the lead and earning an 81 Beyer speed rating. But that kind of closing effort is really not rewarded in this race, and the 81 Beyer speed rating puts her behind some of the other competitors. Her last 2 performances, the G2 Edgewood and the G3 Regret at Churchill Downs, they were kind of lackluster. She finished 8th and 6th, respectively, with Beyer speed figures only in the high 70s. But she's trying something new. So the question's going to be, will she prefer the dirt over the turf? Her sire is Tis the Law, and he won the Travers right here. And he has much better figures as a sire of dirt routers than turf. She's got 4 workouts here on the dirt. Those times, they are respectable. But with her running style and Saffie Joseph Jr.'s turf to dirt win rate for 3-year-old fillies only at 16%, I really worry about how she's going to stack up to this field. However, $1 million purchase, a sire with a win here, and a horse with a graded stakes win when she was much more tactical in the stretch. She could be a wild card, especially for underneath. Before moving on to Rascasse, if you're finding this information helpful, go ahead and help me out by hitting that like button, please. It tells YouTube to keep showing this video to race fans just like yourself. Or better yet, share the video with your backyard Saratoga buddies. Remember, Trifecta Thursdays, new episodes dropping before major race days. And subscribe to never miss out. If you're looking for early speed in a race that doesn't have much, then that next horse may be for you, Rascasse. Only 2 races to her name, but she is 2 for 2. In April, she won a maiden special weight at Keeneland going 7 furlongs. She not only got the win with an 84 Beyer, she battled for that win. She won by a head. She showed, man, she has heart. Then in June, she enters her second race at Churchill Downs, going 1.16 miles, the Monomoy Girl Stakes. She stalks. She takes over the leader at the 3/4 call, and she wins by 2 1/4 lengths with 84 buyer speed figure. Not only did she do all that, she earned the stakes record since the race began in 2022 with a finishing time of 1:43.13. But you may ask herself, who did she really beat that day? Well, let me tell you, there were some really classy horses in that field, including the winner of the G1 Ashland Percy's Bar, who went on to compete in the Kentucky Oaks. But this race is another step up in class and also a step up in distance. To analyze if we should get the distance, we go and we look at her pedigree. Her sire is Authentic, who has above average stats as a sire of dirt routers, and the mare is by Candy Ride, who won at the longer distances. My opinion is the talent is there, and she's got that right running style and form. Her jockey, Axel Concepcion, who's been on her for both of her starts, says she's got a lot of maturity for her age. When she sat off the speed and then finished with that big, strong kick when he asked, professional. In this race, she may be the early leader. And while her speed does need to improve, it can. She's only got 2 races under her belt. I just really wish she had either a race or workouts here at Saratoga. I would want to know, how can she handle this track? But for me, she is really talented, and I need to consider her a threat to the top 2 horses, and especially like her for underneath. Our next horse does have 4 wins, and 2 of those wins were stakes level, including the very last race. Meet Miss Fulton Gal, a Michael Gorham trainee. But while she does have a couple wins, all of her running has either been at Delaware or Laurel, and not in the same type of classy company that she's going to be facing here. Her first stakes win was the Beyond the Wire Stakes at Laurel, going 1 mile. But the second one, the Christiana Stakes, was going this distance at Delaware, although it was a sloppy track. In that race, she came from behind. She split her rivals. She was a half a length behind the leader in the stretch, a key angle, and took over to get that win. But she only earned a 71 buyer, which doesn't really put her in the mix here. The horses she beat that day, they are just not the same caliber that she's going to be matched with in this grade 1. She did participate in the grade 2 Black Eyed Susan going this distance, but she finished 5th, 8 lengths behind with a 68 buyer. No real excuse. She just faded. For me, she's going to be a pass. Moving on to measure. I want you to go back and watch her last race at Saratoga in June. Now, it was only a $55,000 optional claimer, so not nearly the class of some of the other runners in this race, but it was this distance. I want you to look at that stretch run. She had trouble at the gate. She was bumped a bit, and then she had to pause in traffic. But once in the clear in that stretch, she came running with a huge, big run. Heart. Look at how much heart she had. Now, this was her best race to date, but she did lose by a length to Directive, who's also in this race, and only earned an 84 buyer speed figure. But that heart here at Saratoga, that is hard to ignore. She's going to need to improve her speed. And this is a big jump in class. The strongest field she was ever in, $125,000 allowance race, optional claimer at Churchill Downs, where she finished 6, 7 lengths behind. Her only win was a $118,000 maiden special weight at Churchill Downs in November. But she has experience here at this distance, and she's got a distance pedigree. She has Tapit influence, and her dam sire won at this distance, Fountain of Youth in the Wood Memorial. She's got form, but honestly, her running style, a little bit too far back for me. She does need to run closer to the leaders, but the heart does make her interesting to me, especially for underneath. We're about to move on to one of the biggest stars of the race, But before we do that, I want to tell you about an event happening in Saratoga, August 10th, that gives you an opportunity to give back to those who really make the sport special. It's called Fashionable Fillies, a luncheon hosted by the Jockey Club Safety Net. But it's not only a luncheon, it's fashion and vendors and music and raffles. And now, Cherie DeVoe and Donna Brothers. But the best part, the ticket sales and donation, which you can find at this website or in the description of the video, helps the Jockey Club Safety Net provide to horse racing families in need. The backstretch workers, the farm workers, the exercise riders. Since 1985, they've given almost $19 million to racing families who need it the most. If you're a fashionable filly, consider coming to the event or just donate to the cause. August 10th, Saratoga Hollis Springs. An afternoon of looking good, but more importantly, an afternoon of doing good. She was always well thought of, but her racing career got sidetracked due to a scary bout of pneumonia as a 2-year-old. But then she came roaring back and proved she was always a runner. Our 2026 Kentucky Oaks winner. You could almost say she was always a winner until the G1 Acorn. But with 4 races, 3 wins, and 1 place, she's always in the exacta. After winning her debut in February, she goes to Aqueduct for the G3 Gazelle this distance. It's her second race, and she's already going 1.1 miles. Brown said the workouts, they gave him the confidence to send her there. He wanted to give her a chance to shine, but not set her back. And shine she did. But she not only wins, she earns a 94 Beyer speed figure in her second race. So only 2 races under her belt, she enters the G1 Kentucky Oaks a month later. This distance, she stalks 2 to 4 lengths behind the leader. At the top of the stretch, she's in striking distance, and that's exactly what she does. Strikes. Wins with another 94 Beyer speed figure. But then came the Acorn. It's 1 month later, going this distance right here at Saratoga. She has to start in the outermost post position 5. She goes really wide around that first turn. She gets ready to strike going around that final turn, angles out wide. But then in the stretch, counting stars, just goes right by her. Now, she does keep digging to get that place, but her speed rating only comes back in 88. Chad Brown said no real excuse. Maybe she was still feeling the Oaks and wasn't quite her best that day. But today, he says, she's fully recovered, looks rested and well. So we know she has the speed, she can get the distance. She's in really good form and can compete with the classiest of companies. But will the pace be against her? Always a runner, she's got that really strong leg kick, and while the fractions of the Acorn, they were slower than the Oaks. Doesn't look like we're going to have a lot of pace here either, but Jose Ortiz, her jockey, he's a master here. He knows where to position his horses on the track. If you look at where she was in the Acorn compared to those prior races, she was much closer to the leaders than in her past races. How do you look past her? In my opinion, top contender. Our next horse, in my opinion, is a potential threat to the top 2 horses. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking I'm crazy. And you know what? Maybe I am. Long shots are long shots for a reason. And more often than not, they just don't pan out. So I get that. And I hope you understand that as well. This horse has less of a probability of winning versus our Acorn or our Kentucky Oaks winner. But let's talk about Directive, Chad Brown's other horse. How many times has that been said as the most dangerous 4 words in horse racing? Like always a runner, she's always in the exacta. 3 starts, 2 wins, and 1 place. But unlike Chad Brown's favorite, she doesn't have the class. In her first effort at Aqueduct, going 6.5 furlongs in a maiden special weight, she was 5 lengths behind the leaders. She went wide and finished second. Then in April, she tries a mile. It's Belmont at Aqueduct. Another maiden race. She goes to the lead, gate to wire, and wins by 7 lengths with her best Beyer yet of a 91. But note this, it was a muddy track. Next up, a race right here at Saratoga in June. And not only is it here, it's this distance. You know, I like that. She rockets out of the gate to get into position in that first turn, but she did have to go too wide. She stays a half a length off the leader, a key angle that I like, and she takes over in the stretch. Now, in the stretch, she was a little wonky. She drifted out. She seemed to come off the gas until Measure, who's also in this race, came up, and then she re-engaged and she dueled showing heart, and she wins by a length with an 86 Beyer. But you know what else was impressive? Her gallop out, strong. And in comparison to the Acorn, that race had faster fractions. Her 86 Beyer does need to improve if Counting Stars and Always a Runner bring their A game. But she's only got 3 starts. Brown said she's a filly where he needed to take extra time to help her develop mentally. He said she's a little green, but once the other horse came at her, she galloped out with her ears up. And she's got a tremendous amount of stamina and has considered her not only for just this grade 1, but also the Alabama here at Saratoga. She's by Gunrunner, and we do see that Gunrunners need extra time to develop. She is half to 2 grade 1 turf winners. Now, she's going to be part of the pace scenario, and if she maintains her running style like what we saw in that last race, it is exactly what I'm looking for. And she keeps Flavien Prat as a top jockey here. For me, yes, she has got a lot of challenges, but in my opinion, she's a threat. If your name is Todd Pletcher, you may move to the top of the line because Todd Pletcher has won 8 of the past 31 editions of the Coaching Club American Oaks. And 5 of those were with John Velasquez as the jockey. And these 2 are teaming up with the horse coming out of post position 8, Zany. But note this, Zany is cross-entered into the Monmouth Oaks. So we're going to need to see which race she actually runs today. If you all have forgotten about Zany, let me just remind you. She was the favorite in the Kentucky Oaks this distance. She had a very impressive prep race going into the Oaks, the grade 1 Ashland. But remember this, she didn't win. She finished second. It was an off track. She sat. She waited. Then into the stretch, she makes a move on the outside, but Percy's Bar, the winner, came up on the rail. Zany loses by 2 1/4 lengths and earned an 83 Beyer speed figure. But she may have lost. She ran the better race that day. And prior to that, she had 3 solid wins. Her maiden by 6.5 lengths. The grade 2 Demoiselle going this distance, she won it by 8 lengths and got her best Beyer yet of an 89. And her 3-year-old debut, the Suncoast Stakes, which she won by 2 to 3 lengths. So what happened in the Oaks? She comes out of post position 2. She has a poor start. She bumps into another horse leaving the gate. Then she's on the inside by the rail until the stretch where she angles out. She angles out wide. She goes even wider to the far side of Always a Runner and finishes 6th with an 86 Beyer. She has yet to break into the 90 Beyer speed figures like some of the other runners. But Pletcher, he's trying something new, blinkers. Pletcher's been working Zany and blinkers. He's quoted as saying he doesn't know if it's going to make a huge impact, but time to shake things up a bit. He said it took her time to bounce out of the Kentucky Oaks, so they freshened her up, and she is rounding back to good form. She's an impressive horse with an impressive team. But I almost wonder, has some of the other horses progressed even more than she has, or maybe even have more upside? For me, I like some of the other horses more, but can you really forget about a horse that was the favorite in the Kentucky Oaks? Our final horse we have not seen since April when she ran in the grade 3 Gazelle, Nikon, a filly by Nyquist. The Gazelle, this distance at Aqueduct, so she's got the experience going this distance. But she had to go wide and she weakened and finished 4th, 10 lengths behind. Behind who? Always a Runner. In 5 starts, She only has one win. That win came in a $120,000 main special weight going a mile on a muddy track at Churchill Downs. As a 3-year-old, prior to the Gazelle, she finished second twice. She was able to enter the Kentucky Oaks when My Miss Mo scratched, but was withdrawn by her trainer. For me, she does seem a bit overmatched here. Her best speed figure is only a 79, and she only has that one win in a maiden race. In her last race, she came in fourth, and that was several months ago, so I'm not really seeing the form. Since being scratched from the Oaks, she has 5 workouts, all here at Saratoga, but none of them seem remarkable. Also, outside of some of her earlier races, she's much further back than I would like to see in terms of position on the track. But she does get Luis Saez, who's a top jockey here. For me, though, she's going to be a pass. Now is my most favorite part of the video. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the most fabulous filly of them all? Tell me, who do you like in the Coaching Club American Oaks and why? Drop it in the comments below. Y'all know I love it that we are becoming a community that shares and supports one another. And if you've been wondering, what is this platter next to me? Well, this is a replica of the Coaching Club American Oaks trophy. When I was part of WinStar Stablemates, we won this race back in 2020 with Paris Lights. Maybe you're like, wow, I never really knew that about you. You want to get to know me a bit better. Then I encourage you to sign up for my newsletter right here, subscribe.trifectaandextra.com, or use this QR code. I send it out every other Monday. You get to know me, some racing insights, racing news, information about special events, just like Fabulous Fillies. And if you do sign up, just make sure you find the email I send to you right after sign up. You got to open that email, say confirm your email, or you're not on the list. Go ahead, hit like, share, sign up for that newsletter, and maybe even subscribe. I hope you all find your winner on Saturday and sashay away with your money. Now, before I say until next time, if you're digging the tank, they're not sponsored by them. I found them on my own. I purchased this on my own, but it's a new company called Everyone. It's WON. I'll put that in the description too. It's a really cool company with new racing gear. Go find them. Okay. Until next time, cheers.